Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Township stream. As you can see, we're doing kind of another discussion thing. It's not theories one. Personally, I have uploaded my own personal additions to the idea discussion. For some reason I can't find anything from me. I just assume that it's because everything starts to reload in Discord. I was kind of getting frustrated. It's just like, you don't know who I am? But it's completely wrong. So we're going to be checking out some of the things that people have been saying, some ideas that they might have in mind, and yeah, I think that should about cover it. So let's go ahead and get started, and yeah, let's begin. Okay, so as a start, I did want to discuss one of my personal ideas, because I did throw it in there, and I'm sure that some of you may have seen it, but I did a little photo edit. I've discussed this before. I've said it in the video episode. It was very quiet. I know I messed something up in my recording software. The idea was similar to the terrabottas. The terrabottas are made out of raw metals, raw ores that you can collect. They're natural creatures made out of the earth, basically. When I came up with the idea is, what if we had alloy enemies? To say the least, alloy enemies is basically all the metals that you can forge together. So obviously red iron, electrum, valium, palladium. But basically they would be made out of those creatures. And I have a picture here showing you guys kind of what it looked like, or kind of what I would show it to be. Kind of looks like a Skyrim Dwarven Centaurian. It's kind of just a model prototype thing. You don't have to make it exactly like that, but it will look something like that. And you just let me know what you think on the details. Yeah, if you have any questions about it, just let me know. And the other one was actually, when I started the survival series, was the corrupt dais. The corrupt dais, I did show a picture. It starts as a regular dais, but if it lives in a certain location for a long enough time, it becomes feral and it attacks people. It has fangs, it's vicious, and it's basically stops being an herbivore of a carnivore. But those are kind of just the two simple ones that I had in mind for myself. So I'm thinking that we can go and check out some ideas that people have posted and see how well they are. So this one I thought was pretty interesting. It's kind of similar to what I was saying before when I first posted it. The Steam Knight, and actually, you know, that kind of makes sense, but also I think that's the exact same thing as the Dwarven Centaurian from Skyrim. Is the Steam Knight a new large and imposing boss enemy with visible battle scars found in the forest? It makes sense, right? Defends a base and everything and such. So I would say, I don't even know how to pronounce that. I know it's a letter AE. I'm just gonna have to say it like that. This may has a similar idea as I do. Similar to how having another creature out in the forest to be wary of, be dangerous for. And obviously when you kill the enemy, you would get some sort of material out of it. And I would, obviously Steam Knight seems like more of an iron thing. He actually has a picture here. I have to show you when I catch it, wherever I may find it. But that's basically his idea. Okay, so I think this one's an interesting one too. By Chaotic One. I think it'd be really cool to add a new biome to the mines. Maybe a subtype of the crystal zone, maybe it overgrown, actually food stuff grows down there. That is actually a good one. Maybe not things like eggplants or apples, but something. Like the idea of a party just going down in the deep, and they kind of not have on relying on going only as far as their barrel backpack can feed them. Interesting choice with the barrel backpack. I don't know why that's a specific one. Being able to refill the barrel bucket with stuff, pools of water to fill stew pots, little patches of edible stuff, maybe some kind of meat-based critters running around. We have the fire critters, but I don't know if they actually would make anything from them, because they seem more, well, I guess they are biological, so you could harness something from them. So it's possible. But what Chaotic is kind of suggesting too is something similar to the Minecraft update, where they added all the flora down in the biomes in the caves. Personally, I agree. This would be a good one. So thank you, Chaotic, for sending your submission. It's not like it's my subreddit or my Discord or anything, but it's interesting to see what people come up with. Okay, so this one's from Viz. I don't know this one, but they are a supporter of the game. Good for you, mate. I definitely should get around to doing that myself. But if life skill, trade skill was separate from combat skill, I'd appreciate a system where you give better buffs for food and potions if you're leveling that up. But for me, I have to raise my combat skills to get marginal buffs when cooking. I'd really invest time into. I can see a mechanic like that existing in ATT if they revamp the skill tree system to make combat skills and life skills separate from each other. I agree, because all we have for combat is smithing, archery, combat, and what's the other one? Mining. So personally, I don't believe that mining and blacksmithing are anywhere similar to how the combat shrines are. Combat shrine and the archery shrine, those make sense, so it's its own field. But mining is definitely a resource harvest thing, and smithing is a crafting thing, similar to how the crafting building is, but you don't get skills in crafting. I imagine if you could, then you would be better with the hammer, or maybe your chances of getting certain resources might increase. So I definitely would agree that this one is a good one to have. So good job with that one, Viz. I like that one. This one is from David Key, and a great idea would be to adjust smith mode stockage from 8 to 10 and add a bit more. I would love some modes to make multi-tools, like a half pickaxe could be used with an axe, a hoe for tilling the soil and farm, more pearl arms and heads. That actually kind of gives me an idea, because this mate says tilling for soil. That's not actually something that you can do, but I wonder if you had skills similar to what Aviz said earlier. If you had skills in horticulture, I think that's the one, or just agriculture in general, then it's possible to use this method so that crops can grow faster. For the most part, it kind of makes sense. I would agree that I think this one would definitely become as a good factor. Obviously, I kind of sidetracked from what the main point was, but adding tilling would improve soil production of vegetables, and if they actually increase the abilities of items that you collect, then it's possible that we might actually be able to receive better quality foods. Something similar to how Stardew Valley does it is that you get quality food based on a simple basis, a star ranking from silver, gold, and then what is it, like supreme? I always forget what the last one is. Oh, what do you know? I found it. I found mine. Okay, so I'll read it to you, mate, since it's here. I'm not sure if anyone has discussed the potential enemy to the game. I have talked about this before in a video. I have said this, made out of red iron, electrum, radium, etc. It would suggest that the entity protects the place that existed before. So it kind of adds a more of a lore element as well. Is the reason why these creatures exist out there is because there were higher intelligent beings who were able to use steam machines and higher quality mechanics and machinery, something similar to how Rainbow's character is in the SMP. I would find that quite an interesting factor if you add that. This mate likes to post a lot. If anybody doesn't see this AE mate, he has a lot of ideas, so I hope that devs and everything can notice what he's doing, or posting something to the most part. Steamboard, you can attach a small blade and a lantern to it, made or found. Made with 50. Oh, he even has like the specific makeup for everything. I didn't even see this before. Found in combat trials of prize. The whole ship? I wouldn't know if that. I don't know if that would be a good option. Gives some good speed, locomotion. See, the thing is, they would have to optimize the game too, so that actually function faster. This is just a nightmare. Oh, this one's by Vizikin. This one, I think it's similar to what they said before, is that rewards blocking attacks. That would be pretty good. Parrying would be very beneficial. They did end up making Terra models more challenging, so I believe it on by letting them use their attacks while moving, which helps. I'm just upset in the future that number one way to fight Mithril Terrabot is the same attack. Move away, wait, repeat. I like blocking using a shield to be more reliable. I actually feel like it's blocking a hit instead of flopping around in your hand. See, the thing is too, that gave me an idea as I was reading that you like to use shields, Viz. So in a kind of a sense, it makes it suggest that a good factor, because you need a good balancing factor, because obviously when you move away from a pterodactyl it's so that it doesn't hit you. But similar to what they were saying with the shield, is like they enjoy using the shield to block, and if they had a parry system, definitely would use it to the fullest. I would say a good counter factor as a defeated process is still causing slowness. So you'll be able to block the hit, but obviously you have to, your body and shield are going to have to absorb all of that force from a mithril terracotta, depending on how big and from the ranges for every creature. Because that does prove to be a little bit problematic if you are just so easily able to fight this thing, because they're not technically supposed to be easy. Obviously when you get close they have a higher chance of hitting you, but if the shields were more, had a bigger hitbox and actually function as a good shield, then I could say that that is a good balance. Is if you still suffer slowness, even for your attacks doing less damage, is because you're trying to recover from all of that hit. This was posted by Cringy. Okay, what could be another cool suggestion? Like you customize the handles and weapons and such, not so every weapon looks the same almost. You can also decide whether wrapping the handle could go, or you can add some kind of decals to your weapon, something that could make the weapons pop a little more. You could find all the materials to do this in mines about and pass and such as, and so instead of just wood anymore, you would need rope if you wanted to customize your weapons, or bags, or like with a bat you can add plates to enhance damage and such. So kinda, okay, that last one sounded definitely like the Minecraft update that they did recently, where they have what is it, framing? I think that's the word for it. Something that can make the handles and weapons cooler and harder to upgrade. Well, thank you Cringy for that one. That was an interesting choice. I actually had a suggestion like that too. I think I mentioned it during stream one day, but it was about the fact that it would be cool to have engravings. Similar to how I have the Crimson Cauldron. I've had this forever, except for the mate who tried to steal it from me one time before. Yeah, you know who you are. But it'd be interesting. I would want to get my symbol implemented as an emblem on that, but I did realize some of the flaws in making something like that. Is that people are going to be disrespectful, derogatory, hurtful, and disgusting. So a lot of difficult situations would go into basically being able to draw whatever you want. Personally, I think in Rec Room has had that problem before, because when you got the boards you can draw everything you want. But before I actually started doing streams and started recording and everything and such, there was a mate that I knew back then, and he took me to a private room to show me what he made or what he had, and it wasn't the to say the cleanest of stuff. And personally, I don't agree that people make that stuff. Sure, well, I don't agree that they make it in something that's as public as it is. Definitely go ahead and do it on private stuff that's more secure. But when it comes to games like Rec Room, Township, something that kids could even play, it's not okay to have that stuff. So that was like a little lecture moment. It was my first thought. But here's Cringy again. A cool feature would be like interactive cosmetics, like you can actually take off your hat. That would be pretty fun. You could just do like the hat tip, like I do. But if you let go of it, it goes back on your head. Similar to how the map works in Rec Room. When you take it out of your bag, you can throw it, but it'll disappear and show back up. I think that would be pretty interesting, but it would get super obnoxious. Cause people. Okay, so this one is, it's Zoltex. So I have an idea for a Township Tale. Make it where we can fish with fishing rods that we can find and build, and make it where you can catch fish in rivers and then eat them. This has happened before, for me it has, and yes, this is an interesting idea, but of course you would need to factor in what kind of fish you wanted to use, and obviously that would set some new theories for the game. Not for like big lore, but I mean for things such as where we are as a Township Tale. That's actually a discussion that I should do. I'm going to do that one next. If you guys remember, there was a random moment scene where I was with Dragon Players. mate who was, I think they were just starting the game, and they were out hunting, trying out the archery, getting themselves a large bag. If you remember seeing that was somebody who we actually briefly talked about it. She actually was wondering if there was any fishing in the game too, and there isn't, but it would be interesting, similar to what Idziltex said, is to have some fishing, because yeah, it would be interesting to see what they choose when we're out here, but you know. Okay, so this one is by Typic. I actually saw them typing recently. How about instead of music we actually have background noise dependent on where we are. So as an example, someone walking through bandit camps would hear the wind blowing on the grass. Interesting choice. I personally feel like flute would work the most. Also, if we did have that, then I wouldn't be able to use my typical music that I really use all the time. For anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about Simple Gifts, the gift, everything that I use for Township, the songs that identify Township. Of course, there would definitely be some music that is optional, you can turn it on and off, but I'm sure if you want to listen to music when you're here, hopefully it's not something that you get tired of. Okay, the Human Traitor. Interesting name. They say the armor update will be amazing, or even more things to make when you craft, but the armor update, you will be able to choose from heavy to light armor. You can make this armor with chicken feathers or metal by metal. You can go to blacksmith or maybe a new place and heat the metal sheet up and place it into the armor maker. Or put the type of armor style you want and you chisel a hammer to form it. When the chicken feather you can put on the armor maker and start putting feathers on a mannequin and using rope to attach them. The painting update would be cool too. You could paint on swords and weapons and put a special design on a certain weapon, or you can make a painting to decorate the ton with colors. So this was definitely something similar to what I was talking about. The special design, it's a bit of a dangerous route to take, especially knowing what people are going to do with it, but this kind of is a callback, because there was a time when Township, or no, not even, yeah, Township Tale. Township Tale had armor before the cosmetics came in, and it was actually because the armor got removed because cosmetics were added. So they also kind of had no use for it, because they wanted to give the designs to the players, see what they wanted to choose, and of course pay for it. But it would be so nice to have a coloring system for that to choose, although it would be probably very misleading if I had a mithril sword and I coloured it purple because it's like, oh, it's valiant and scary, but you know, something like that. And a pretty good idea too with the feathers and everything on the mannequin, because you do need a shape to be able to figure that out. So basically you choose the body type that you match, or it might just fit you no matter the case, although I feel like you would have to have a certain body type for that. So you would have to choose the right mannequin, or else you mess up. Definitely I would say a new place. So obviously you would have to smelt the metals in the blacksmith to forge them into the shape that you need. Definitely something that's thin, soft. And then for the rest of the clothing, say if you wanted to have a metal, kind of similar to how the sleeves on the hand that were buckles in them, is to have the metal ingrained in cloth or whatever material clothing is made out of. Obviously some pieces are heavier than the others based on the look, but obviously it would be interesting to witness anything in the such. And what would the building be called? What would we call the building that you would get it? I guess it would just be the armorer, right? Something like that. Or the because it's got something similar to the carpenter and the smithing, but it's also a style, and somebody who has to actually forge these outfits is an outfitter, but it's closer to a smith, obviously, because you're going to make the metal, but I don't know what we call it. If you guys have any suggestions to what it is, just let me know. I would like to see what you guys have in thought. And do remember, if you did watch this all the way, make sure that your first comment is the number 4. If you say 4, then I know you've watched this far. Do it. Do it. Anyways, but I feel like we've gone pretty long with the ideas, checking out what everybody has to offer, and yeah, so if you guys have any ideas, definitely go down to the Township Discord, because there is a specific time for idea discussion there where you could send information, send your ideas, people will discuss it, and there's a pretty active it's a pretty active section in this Discord. So let me know what you guys think of the video as well. Let me know if you do have an idea, and then we'll be able to share it next time, and maybe look into it a little bit more detailed. We'll probably focus on some more ideas more specifically, see how it looks, see how it turns out, see who wants to join, or who agrees, who disagrees. Put it to a voting system at some point then. And we got some new games going to be heading our ways, and some new mates to play with. Some older ones, you may have seen them before, and some people that you have not at all. So just letting you know what's coming. And don't forget to, right there, so there is the button for you to sub to the channel. I do really hope that you will consider being part of this community. I do love this game. I do love what people create, and obviously we still got a bunch of servers to check out, because this is just the start, so it's barely the beginning, and I'm hoping to reach 100 episodes at least for Township Tale by that point. Not to say that I'm going to stop at 100, but I just want to get there. But thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a wonderful day, and goodbye.